Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran and patch 8.1 is coming up very soon, but not until December the 11th. And a lot of people are still subscribed to the game and they're just desperately trying to find something to do. So in this video, I want to give you guys all the fun things that I can think of what you can do while waiting for patch 8.1. This video is going to try to go over some of the things you can do by yourself solo, with also a few of my personal suggestions of what you can do for long term of the game closer to the end of the video. So hopefully you guys watch the whole damn thing. Anyway, let's just jump right into it. There's a couple amazing things patch 8.1 is going to bring, and one I'm super excited about is brand new class changes that are so needed for a few of these specs. Alley Shamans, Shadow Priests, Marksman Hunters, you name it, there's definitely a few updates that Blizzard can work towards, and they do have a lot of changes already on PTR. It just needs to hit live as soon as possible. What I've been doing in my free time, since I'm excited to play a lot of these new classes and try out all these new class changes, it's not enough for me to try them on like a 110 character or a 110 trial character. I'd rather have a full 120 geared out and ready to go. I always loved having a bunch of alts to be able to learn how other classes play, mostly so as a rogue. Whenever I face him in a duel, I know exactly what to do about it. But I think it's a good idea starting now to just start leveling characters before 8.1. There's actually a couple different events that will allow you to level faster. Blizzard's 14th anniversary is going to be around for a week or two, and that'll give you guys, should be an average of 14% extra experience since it's their, 14th anniversary. Combine that and take advantage of the Dark Moon Fair whenever it's available for the 10% extra on top of that. It'll help you guys get a bunch of characters leveled up and ready to go. Another part of the game that I know a lot of people like, and I'm not really in that crowd, but I know it's super popular, and it's in every damn video that talks about stuff like this: transmog and mount runs. I'll be honest, some mounts are actually pretty cool. While I'm not a huge mount guy, there's definitely a few mounts that I'm super keen on. I remember getting the Leviathan Prowler back in Legion, the Fox mount. I honestly thought it was the coolest mount ever, best special animation for it. I thought it had an awesome design, and I thought it was very truly unique. So there are a few mounts that even I can get into, but a lot of people love mount runs. It is something that can be done on a weekly or even daily basis. You can run mount runs from dungeons, from raids, and it's something you can be doing on multiple different characters. In the same breath, since you'll be spending time diving into older raids and dungeons, you can also pick up a couple different transmog pieces. Again, I'm not really, or at least I tell everybody, not really a transmog guy, but when everybody and the mother asks me, "Hey Dalaran, those are pretty cool shoulders, where are they from?" I remember that I am a transmog guy, just a different kind. While dungeons and raids have a lot of different unique sets, and I like the idea of transmog because it allows players to customize their characters in greater detail, using different bits of pieces in order to make their own custom outfit. I think it's great for that creative purpose. But for me personally, what I like about transmogs is getting those unique pieces that look awesome that everybody asks you about. Transmogs and mounts both kind of go hand in hand, as they allow you to customize your characters and give yourself a different look, while also giving you different mounts to stay with your character forever, with the transmog and mount system that we have right now in BFA. And a lot of people run these because it's fun. It's something that can be done solo, or it can be done with a bunch of friends. There's so many different pieces, so many different mounts to collect. So if you're somebody who likes collecting different items, or having maybe some kind of at least a schedule, like once a day I'm gonna hop into a dungeon, see if I can get that shoulder piece, see if I can get that head piece, see if I can get that mount, and then having a weekly goal every single week to run all your alts through that one raid, that one dungeon, to see if certain pieces or if certain mount can drop. I think it's also a good idea to dive a little bit into some money making, either professions or whatever uses you have. Money making in World of Warcraft is something that's kind of cool. I know that in previous expansions somebody's going to say that the value of gold was much greater back in vanilla, BC, Wrath and whatnot, but Blizzard always finds a way to add gold sinks into the game. Whether it is the Black Market auction house with unique items, transmog pieces, and toys that are unique that will appear once every blue moon in the game, or things like the Dazar Allure 5 million gold mount with an auctioneer on the side. The future patch of 8.1 and beyond is of course going to have even more gold sinks in the game. Gold still does have more value outside of it, as I feel like the gear and the BOA market, especially with how often people sell a bunch of their BOAs, if you're someone who's not the most savviest person in the game, you can always buy some of the better gear from the auction house. I don't think of it as even buy to win anyway, because the RNG of the game, you just basically get to bypass it. And if someone wants to drop off a fat piece of gear and it has your best and slot stats, hey, if you ended up farming gold before the expansion began, or the new patch began, for example, like 8.1, you might be able to be the first person to snag a nice bit of loot from the auction house and have a competitive edge. I mean, I will be honest, as a rogue, I'm so glad I picked up my Fathoms deck, because that trinket is still my best in slot, no matter what trinkets I get. I literally need a trinket of 400 plus item level to replace my Fathoms. On top of it, while you're making money, you can check out professions, and it's something that can be done very casually. There's multiple ways of making money in World of Warcraft. Professions is one of them. Like if you're a gatherer profession like herbalism or mining, you can collect a bunch of ore and a bunch of plants and sell them in the auction house and kind of play the economy. Or if you want to go even bigger, you could start grinding mobs if you're like a tank class. Pull a bunch of mobs together, nuke them down, see what they drop. There's a good chance it could drop mounts and even certain rare purples. You can always just play the auction house if you're savvy enough. I'm not a gold making channel when it comes to running the auction house and playing the auction house, so definitely if you're someone who is even interested in making big money, I feel like it's a good time to start looking into some YouTube guides on that. But the main point across is there's always going to be something you can buy your gold with, and if you're just waiting for the next patch and there's nothing to do, it's a good idea to have at least some sort of goal in mind, even if it is to buy the best gear as soon as it hits the auction house. Next one is going to be to invest into a guild. That doesn't mean start your own guild, that means spend some time before patch 8.1 hits to find a brand new guild. A lot of people come to me and I don't want to use the word complain, but they definitely vent me some of their grievances. Most of those grievances being about not finding enough people to play with, not knowing exactly what to do without a full-fledged guild, being kicked out of LFG groups, or simply not even being invited in the first place, whether they want to do arenas, raids, or Mythic plus dungeons. As much as solo this game tries to be with its LFG and LFR, let's be honest, most of the real content happens in pre-made groups, in pre-made raids, in pre-made Mythic Pluses, and even in pre-made arenas. And it's much easier, and I'm telling you from experience, to do all of these things with a guild. I'm not even telling you that you need to be like the top method raider or anything, but if you're able to invest into finding a guild that has people you want to interact with, and the do activities you're interested in, it's going to be much easier to get into these group activities. And this one is more an anecdotal thing, but I'm an Outlaw rogue main, so if I pop into a group and they don't see a subtlety rogue or an assassination rogue off the bat in Mythic Pluses, some people are dumb enough to kick me out. But when I'm running with my guildies, I can play Outlaw, I don't actually lose anything that assassination rogues would bring, and in some cases I might even bring more damage than they would see out of your average or even high-end assassination rogue. Because in my experience, it doesn't really matter about the spec, because technically you can get the best in slot pieces and make any spec work, but it all depends on your group. If you're playing with a bunch of randoms, they're expecting the top end tier, the meta plays, the meta specs, and let's say you're a fire mage just trying to get some keys done and you know you can pump some damage, hell, maybe even more damage than a frost mage, but a bunch of people just keep declining you just because you're a fire mage. Maybe finding a guild that understands where you're coming from and is willing to run you through some content, is willing to adjust the playstyle and the gameplay because you want to play a certain spec, I found it much easier to do it in a guild-based group. Outside of that, I feel like it's a good idea to find yourself a good guild, because you can choose what kind of guild do you want. Do you want to be casual for patch 8.1, just kind of raiding, maybe heroic at most, or do you want to go hardcore with some Mythic Plus content? Do you want to just kind of do a plus 10 for the week, doesn't even matter if you time, or are you looking at pushing 15s at 3 chests? You know what I mean? You can also find social guilds and even roleplay guilds. Some people can get into that, and that might inspire them a little bit more to play the game because they're playing different aspects of it, like roleplay. I feel like having a guild and having a community you can always come to and be excited to play with and interact with is always a good idea, but it does mean you have to get out of your element, and if you're shy you do have to get through that skin, and you have to be social, you have to be looking for people to play with, but that means you have to put in the effort. If you're a planner on playing this game long term, I do recommend people to start looking at a guild now, especially with the patch 8.1 with a new raid tier rolling around very soon. Next, and this one goes a lot easier if you can get into a guild, is group content. I feel like in Battle for Azeroth, PvP is really new, so if you really want to get into some real PvP, try your hand at arenas. There's a lot more different changes to a lot more classes, a lot more specs are viable, the use of gear allows for a lot more customizability. Even if you hate Azerite trades, they do get to have some impact in PvP play, and when you play in arenas, you get to see a lot more comps and a lot more possible viable builds. I feel like the PvP in Battle for Azeroth actually has been pretty good. I've been enjoying the different metas and how it seems like every week or two you find a different spec that's all of a sudden viable. And I know if you've been watching the BlizzCon tournament, you're probably thinking it's going to be Rogue Mage everywhere. Yes and no, because Rogue Mage is a popular comp and they do really well, but I think a lot more specs and a lot more viabilities are out there and available for all of you guys to check out. It's a brand new expansion and a brand new season, it's all pretty fresh and early, and it seems like Blizzard is continuing to make more changes for PvP, especially after looking at some of the tricky choices for the Arena Invitationals. Then of course you have your Mythic Plus dungeons, and I feel like that has changed a bit. If you are not a fan or didn't even try Legion Mythic Pluses, I feel like you really need to try them now, and a lot of the affixes and even the seasonal affixes add a little bit extra variety to the gameplay. Whether you want to do them casually or competitively, whether you just want to get your 10s done for the week or push, or you just want to get like 2s and 3s done, I feel like it's a great bit of content and I've been enjoying it a lot. I've been enjoying Mythic Pluses even on my alts, where I can test out what my characters are like. I can try different traits, different builds, different specs, and if a group invites me, see how I do. I love the idea that dungeons are relevant again, where normally you would just get your heroic dungeons done and then move into LFR, the normal raids and heroics, way back in previous expansions like Mists of Pandaria. So I can definitely appreciate that dungeons do maintain their, I guess, credibility, they do maintain their difficulty and the challenge that comes with it. I love the fact that a lot of the boss fights are actually relevant and you actually do get to play through them instead of just burning through them. I love the fact that a lot of the ads require different kind of approaches depending on your group. And it's super fun and it feels like there's so much replayability in this type of content, at least for me, even if you do it casually through random groups. And then of course there's raiding, but honestly every World of Warcraft player knows everything about raiding, what's it like. The current tier has been an interesting one, but the next raid looks super exciting. So if you're not excited about the current raid tier, the next one looks really good and it's implementing a lot of brand new mechanics we actually haven't seen before. So if anything, there's something to be excited about. And then I got my own final tidbit towards the end, and I feel like this one is gonna be a little weird, but I feel like it's a great time to get really good at your class. Now I know everybody's gonna be watching this video and saying, but Dalaran, I'm super good at my class. I'm like probably the best. Totally, kind of 100%. Nah, we can all admit that there's definitely something all of us can improve at our classes. But when I first picked up Combat Rogue back in Mists of Pandaria, I just decided to make a conscious decision that I'm going to be trying to be the best, the very best of that class, like no one ever was. And I know that was a really bad Pokemon reference, but I really did mean it. I really wanted to be the best at that class. What was fun about it is I picked a class that I liked. It didn't matter if it was like a meta and everybody wanted to play that spec, or if it was a really poor spec, which Combat Rogue at the time was. I just really wanted to make it work. And it's been super fun. I feel like the journey of trying to get really good at that one class, just because you like it, there's a couple of different aspects that are fun about it. First of all, if you find a spec and a build that you really like, it's going to be a lot easier for you to invest time into it, because every time you're playing that class, you're having a blast with the rotation, and you're having a blast with how that class or spec interacts with dungeons, raids, or whatever. Second, when you really want to learn how to play that class, you have to do your own research. Like if you really have the drive to want to learn how to get good, you will be starting to look at guides, you'll want to start looking at other information, you'll probably be checking out a couple sims, and you might even be subscribing to certain class discords in order to find out some help to help you get better at whatever spec you want to play. It's kind of like a teach a man to fish and he'll fish for a life, or give a man a fish and he'll eat the fish type of deal. You'll be the man that learns how to fish with a spear. I feel like that process is a long-term process. And let's say there's a certain class that you're excited about at 8.1. Maybe it's a brand new class, maybe it's a class change that you like, or you finally want to figure out and get really good at that one class in a game. You want to finally get invited into higher end Mythic Pluses, you want to finally start doing some Mythic raid content, or simply just want to improve on a class that you really like, I think it's a good idea to start investing into resources and looking at all the different information, which is a lot of this information is free and publicly available out there. You just have to know how to navigate the tools. I feel like I'm somebody who loves to have like a really long-term, like years ahead type of progress. I want to have a long-term goal that I strive towards one little baby step at a time, and I feel like for me it is a lot easier, for example, to maintain and keep playing World of Warcraft because I have a long-term goal at the end of it all. I am trying to take every single week even small baby steps towards that goal, and it's a lot easier to continue playing the game and enjoying what I do. But that's just my tidbit. I don't know if it'll help anybody out, but maybe setting a really big long-term goal and trying every week to improve towards that goal in some way or another could be enough of a trigger for a lot of people to get like that spark for the game all over again and continue pushing harder, especially with brand new patch and all the content coming out. I feel like it will just keep you on that track, and as the content comes out, it's just going to be even more enjoyable. But you can start enjoying the game now by having a goal and start working towards it. Anyway guys, that's my video on all the things you can do for patch 8.1. I know you guys were probably expecting some kind of a popcorn video, maybe trying to get like top 5 things you can do and kind of just have it be like a 10-minute video with like a clip at the end, and it isn't. I just really want to give you guys some of my honest things that I would probably be doing if I wasn't enjoying the game, even though I am enjoying the game. But then again, it's kind of my job. I have to find ways to enjoy it, so maybe I could be like the expert at it. I guess depends how you look at it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed. The channel has been growing strong and I'm still trying to hit that 100k subscribers. So if you guys could, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, spread the word, and I'll see all of you guys in the next video.